Crash landing. Commander Alex Reeves had survived 3 intergalactic wars, 6 crash landings, and 1 particularly nasty encounter with the Scorpy swarm, but nothing had prepared them for this. The ship, their pride and joy, the scout vessel Hermes, was screaming around them, every alarm blaring as they plummeted through the thick atmosphere of the uncharted planet below. "Come on, baby, hold together," Alex muttered, fingers dancing across the emergency thrusters. The ship didn't respond. Actually, that wasn't quite true. It responded with a series of loud bangs followed by the main power cutting out completely. Perfect. They'd been on a routine mapping mission in the Cygnus sector when the ship had suddenly detected an anomalous energy signature. Protocol dictated they investigate, but as they'd approached the coordinates, the ship's systems had gone haywire. Now they were in freefall toward the surface of a planet that wasn't supposed to exist according to Terran Alliance charts. The emergency backup systems kicked in just enough for Alex to get a glimpse of where they were heading. A dense, mist-shrouded forest that seemed to glow from within. Then impact. Alex awoke to the sensation of being dragged across rough ground. Their environment suit was intact, its oxygen filters working overtime to process the unfamiliar air. But the suit wasn't what had saved them from the crash. Their savior was currently pulling them by the shoulders away from the twisted wreckage of the Hermes. Alex turned their head and caught sight of their rescuer. The being stood easily 7 feet tall, with powerful limbs covered in what looked like a combination of scales and fur in vibrant shades of green and blue. A long tail whipped behind them, and when they turned to look down at Alex, their eyes glowed a fierce yellow in the dim light. The being had distinctly feminine features despite the alien nature of her appearance, with sharp cheekbones and a regal stance. "You shouldn't be here," the alien said, her voice melodic despite the harshness of human language on her tongue. "The forest does not welcome metal birds." Alex tried to stand, wincing at the pain that shot through their leg. "Probably broken. I didn't exactly plan this," they replied, gesturing to the smoking wreckage. "My ship malfunctioned. I need to send a distress signal to my people." The alien's eyes narrowed, her tail lashing more violently behind her. "No signals. No more of your kind. You stay." That got Alex's attention. "Look, I appreciate the rescue, but I can't stay here. I have duties, responsibilities. The forest has chosen." The alien interrupted, her tone leaving no room for argument. "You are bound to this place now." Before Alex could protest further, a distant howl echoed through the trees. The alien's head snapped in that direction, her entire body tensing. "They come, the devouring ones. We must seek shelter." She bent down and lifted Alex effortlessly, cradling them against her chest like a child. "Be silent, or they will find us." As they moved through the misty forest, Alex caught glimpses of the environment around them. The trees were unlike anything they'd seen before, with trunks that seemed to pulse with internal light. The ground beneath them wasn't soil but something closer to a living carpet of moss and small, luminescent fungi. And everywhere, the mist, swirling and shifting, as if it had a mind of its own. The alien moved with practiced ease, avoiding areas where the mist was thickest and choosing paths that seemed random but must have held some significance to her. Finally, they arrived at what appeared to be a massive, hollowed-out tree trunk. The entrance was concealed by hanging vines that parted at the alien's touch. Inside was a living space, sparse but comfortable, with a bed of soft moss, containers made from hardened resin, and various implements crafted from materials found in the forest. The alien set Alex down gently on the moss bed. "You will heal here," she said, examining Alex's injured leg with surprising gentleness. "The forest's blessing flows strong in this place. You keep talking about the forest like it's alive, conscious." Alex winced as the alien applied a sticky sap to their injured leg. "All things are alive," she replied simply. "But this forest, it is more. It knows. It chooses. It protects what is its own." She looked at Alex with those piercing yellow eyes. And now, it has chosen you. Alex tried to sit up. I don't understand. Why me? What does that even mean? The alien was silent for a long moment. I am Zora, guardian of the mist, last of my kind on this world. She gestured to the forest outside. For many cycles, I have protected the heart of this world alone. But the devouring ones grow stronger. The balance shifts. She reached out and placed a clawed hand over Alex's heart. Then you fell from the stars. The forest felt your spirit and called to you. Alex didn't know what to make of that. Look, Zora, I appreciate everything you've done, but I need to contact my people. They'll be looking for me. Zora's expression hardened. No, if others come, they will bring destruction. They always do. You don't know that. I have seen it. Zora hissed, her tail lashing in agitation. Your kind came before, with their drills and their machines. They took and took until the forest fought back. She turned away. Only one understood. Only one stayed to help heal what had been broken. That caught Alex's attention. Another human was here. Zora nodded slowly. Many cycles ago, he understood the forest's song, became its ally. She looked at Alex with an unreadable expression. He called himself a scientist. He helped me drive the others away, heal the wounds they had carved into the heart of this world. What happened to him? Zora's expression softened. He returned to the stars, but before he left, he promised the forest would be protected, that no more metal birds would come. Her eyes hardened again. He failed. Alex leaned back, processing this information. So this planet was surveyed before. But there's nothing in our charts about it. The one who understood, he called himself Jenkins, said he would hide our world from your kind's eyes, that we would be forgotten. Zora moved to the entrance of the hollow, looking out at the mist-shrouded forest. For many cycles, it was so. Until you. Alex thought of the anomalous energy signature that had drawn them off course. Could that have been some kind of defense system failing? A beacon rather than a warning? Zora, I need to see my ship. There might be equipment I can salvage. Supplies. No. Zora's voice was firm. Night comes. The devouring ones hunt under darkness. You will stay here until the light returns. She moved back into the hollow, gathering various plants and roots. You need healing and rest. As much as Alex wanted to argue, the pain in their leg was becoming unbearable. Whatever Zora had applied earlier was helping, but they needed proper medical attention. Their suits built in Medikit could only do so much. What are these devouring ones you keep mentioning? Alex asked, watching as Zora crushed some sort of luminescent root into a paste. They came with the wounds in the forest, Zora replied, not looking up from her work. Creatures of hunger and shadow. They consume all they touch, plant, animal, even the mist itself. She finally looked up, her yellow eyes reflecting the bioluminescent light of the hollow. They are why I cannot leave my post, why I must protect what remains of the heart. And what exactly is this heart you're protecting? Zora fell silent, studying Alex as if weighing a decision. Finally, she set down her mortar and pestle and approached, kneeling beside them. The heart is what gives life to this world. It is ancient, powerful, sacred. She placed a hand on Alex's injured leg. It is what called to you across the stars. What saved you from death when your metal bird fell. She applied the luminescent paste to Alex's leg, and immediately a cooling sensation spread through the injury, dulling the pain. Rest now, Starfallen. When light returns, we will speak more. Despite their best intentions to stay alert, Alex felt their consciousness slipping away as the paste effects spread throughout their body. The last thing they saw before darkness claimed them was Zora standing guard at the entrance to the hollow, her powerful silhouette outlined against the strange, glowing mist of the forest beyond. Alex dreamed of stars and mist intertwining, of roots that reached up into the cosmos, and of a heartbeat that wasn't their own, vast and ancient, echoing through their very bones. Understanding the Guardian. Alex awoke to the sound of singing. At least, they thought it was singing. The melody was unlike anything they'd heard before, with notes that seemed to hover just beyond the range of human hearing. They opened their eyes to find the hollow bathed in gentle light filtering through the vines covering the entrance. Surprisingly, their leg felt better. Much better. Alex tentatively moved it, expecting pain, but found only a mild stiffness. They sat up and examined the injury. Where there should have been severe swelling and bruising, they found only a faint blue-green stain from Zora's paste and skin that was almost completely healed. "Impossible," they muttered. "Not impossible, simply beyond your understanding." Alex looked up to find Zora entering the hollow, carrying what appeared to be fruits and something that looked disturbingly like a still wriggling lizard. "Your lay heals well," she observed, setting down her bounty. "The forest's blessing is strong in you." "This isn't normal," Alex said, still examining their leg. "Even with advanced medical tech, a break like this would take weeks to heal." Zora tilted her head. "The heart's power flows through all things here, more strongly in some places than others." She gestured around the hollow. "This place is special, sacred." Alex carefully stood, testing their weight on the injured leg. It held firm. "I need to see my ship," they insisted. "If I can repair the communication systems." "I have told you." "No calls to the stars," Zora interrupted, her tail lashing once in irritation. "But yes, we will go to your fallen bird. There are things you must understand." After a breakfast of surprisingly sweet fruits, Alex politely declined the still-living lizard. They set out through the forest. In the daylight, or what passed for daylight on this world, Alex could better appreciate the alien beauty of their surroundings. The trees towered hundreds of feet overhead, their trunks iridescent with what looked like veins of luminous sap. The mist remained, but it was thinner now, swirling around their ankles like curious pets. "The metal birds came first," Zora said as they walked. "Then the cutting machines. They tore into the forest, seeking what lay beneath." What were they looking for? "The heart's crystals. They grow where its power touches the world's bones." Zora gestured to a nearby tree, where small glowing crystals had formed along the roots. "Even the smallest contains power your kind covets." Alex recognized the crystals immediately. Quantum crystals, highly prized for their ability to store and manipulate energy at the quantum level. A find like this would be worth trillions. "How many came?" they asked quietly. 3 metal birds, larger than yours. They'd brought machines that devoured the trees and burrowed into the earth. Zora's voice grew tight with remembered anger. They did not listen when the forest warned them, did not stop when the mist tried to turn them away. "So what happened?" Zora stopped walking, her gaze distant. The forest defended itself. The mist grew thick and hungry. "Many of your kind died." She turned to look at Alex. Then Jenkins came. He was different. He listened. He heard the forest's pain and understood what the others were doing was wrong. They continued walking, and soon the tangled wreckage of the Herms came into view. Alex felt a pang at seeing their beloved ship so destroyed. The Herms had been their home for 5 years, carrying them safely through countless dangerous situations. Until now. As they approached, Alex noticed something odd. The forest was already reclaiming the ship. Vines and moss covered portions of the hull, and at the edges where metal had torn open, there was a strange melding of machine and plant. "The forest consumes what does not belong," Zora explained, seeing Alex's expression. "In time, nothing of your metal bird will remain." Alex hurried forward, hoping the damage wasn't as extensive as it appeared. They needed the ship's emergency beacon, at minimum. As they approached the main hatch, however, Zora suddenly tensed beside them. "We are not alone," she hissed, her claws extending. Before Alex could react, something burst from the underbrush, a creature unlike anything they had ever seen. It was roughly the size of a large wolf, but its body seemed to be composed of darkness itself, with edges that blurred and shifted. Where its eyes should have been, there were only swirling voids. "Devour," Zora snarled, pushing Alex behind her. The creature attacked without warning, launching itself at Zora with unnatural speed. Alex watched in astonishment as Zora met it head-on, her claws slashing through its shadowy form. The creature emitted no sound even as Zora's attacks connected, but Alex could feel its rage like a physical force. The battle was brief but intense. Zora moved with incredible grace, her body seemingly anticipating the Devourer's attacks before they came. Finally, she pinned the creature to the ground, her claws piercing what passed for its throat. "Return to shadow," she growled, and to Alex's amazement, she began to glow. Light emanated from beneath her scales, traveling down her arms and into the Devourer. The creature writhed, its form becoming more insubstantial until, with a final convulsion, it dissolved into wisps of darkness that quickly dissipated. Zora rose slowly, the glow fading from her body. "What the hell was that?" Alex asked, their voice barely above a whisper. "A Devourer. Once, they were rare. Now, they grow bolder, venturing even into the protected places." Zora looked troubled. "Their numbers increase as the heart weakens." Alex approached cautiously. "You said they came with the wounds in the forest. You mean from the mining operation?" Zora nodded. The heart was damaged. Its power leaked into places it should not go. The balance was broken. She turned to look at Alex directly. "This is why no more of your kind can come here. The wound has not healed. More interference could destroy everything." Alex understood the warning but couldn't accept the implication. "Zora, I can't just stay here forever. I have a life, responsibilities." "As do I." Zora cut them off. "I did not ask for a companion, Starfallen. The forest chose you." Her expression softened slightly. Jenkins understood in time. He stayed for many cycles before returning to the stars. And he promised to protect this place, to keep others away. Yes, he said he would ensure this world remained hidden, that the wounds would have time to heal. Her tail lashed in agitation. "But now you are here, and the Devourers grow bold. These things are connected." Alex turned back to the Herms, determination setting in. "Let me see what's salvageable. I need to understand what brought me here if I'm going to help." After a moment's hesitation, Zora nodded. "Be quick. Where one Devourer hunts, others will follow." The ship's interior was in worse shape than Alex had feared. The main systems were completely fried, and the emergency beacon was crushed beyond repair. But the data core was intact, and Alex was able to extract it along with a portable power cell. If they could access the ship's logs, maybe they could understand what had pulled them off course. As they worked, Zora remained close, constantly scanning their surroundings for threats. Alex took the opportunity to learn more. "You said you're the last of your kind here. What happened to the others?" Zora's expression darkened. "Some fell defending the forest when the metal birds came. Others succumbed to the corruption that followed. The rest," she trailed off. "The heart called them elsewhere when the balance here was broken. Only I remained, bound by oath to protect what was left." "And Jenkins, what exactly did he do to help?" "He understood the heart's nature, used his knowledge to begin the healing." Zora touched one of the pulsing veins of light running through a nearby tree. "He created barriers, both to contain the corruption and to hide our world from yours." Alex paused in their work, a suspicion forming. "Zora, the anomaly that drew my ship here, could it have been one of these barriers failing?" Zora considered this. Perhaps. The heart's power ebbs. What once was strong may now be weakening. Finally, Alex managed to extract the key components they needed. As they were preparing to leave, something caught their eye. A small, pulsing crystal embedded in the ship's navigation console. It hadn't been there before the crash. "Zora, look at this." The alien approached cautiously, her eyes widening at the sight of the crystal. "The heart reaches for you, she whispered, her voice filled with awe. I have never seen this before. Alex carefully extracted the crystal. It felt warm in their hand, pulsing in rhythm with their heartbeat. We must return to sacred ground, Zara said urgently. Now. The devourers will sense the heart's touch. As if on cue, a distant howl echoed through the forest, followed by another and another. Run, Zara commanded, already pulling Alex away from the wreckage. They fled through the misty forest, the howls of the devourers growing closer with each passing moment. Alex clutched the crystal and data core to their chest, their recently healed leg beginning to ache with the exertion. Just as the sounds of pursuit seemed about to overtake them, they burst into a clearing unlike any other part of the forest they had seen. Here, the mist formed a perfect dome overhead, and at the center stood a massive tree with a trunk wider than Alex's ship. Its bark was translucent, revealing a network of glowing veins that pulsed in a rhythm that Alex immediately recognized as matching the crystal in her hand. The guardian tree, Zora explained, pulling Alex toward it, one of the few direct conduits to the heart that remains uncorrupted. As they approached the massive tree, the crystal in Alex's hand grew warmer, its pulsing more intense. The mist around them thickened, forming a barrier between them and the sounds of pursuit. What do I do with this? Alex asked, holding up the crystal. The heart has chosen you for a reason. Starfallen, Zara replied, her voice solemn. Perhaps it is time we discovered why. She placed her hands over Alex's, both of them now holding the crystal, and pressed it against the translucent bark of the guardian tree. Immediately, light flared between their fingers, and Alex felt a surge of energy unlike anything they had experienced before. Images flooded their mind. The forest as it once was, vibrant and untouched. The arrival of human mining ships. The devastation that followed. Jenkins working alongside a younger Zara to heal the wounded land. And finally, a network of energy barriers surrounding the planet, now flickering and failing in multiple places. As the vision faded, Alex staggered back, overwhelmed. Zara steadied them, her expression grim. Now you understand, she said quietly. The barriers fail. Soon, others will find us, just as you did. Jenkins's protection system is breaking down, Alex confirmed, their mind racing. But why? What's changed? Before Zara could answer, the mist barrier at the edge of the clearing rippled violently. Dark shapes moved within it, pressing against the barrier but unable to pass through. The devourers grow stronger, Zara observed, her voice tight with concern. They sensed the heart's activity. Alex looked down at the data core in their hands, then back at the crystal now embedded in the guardian tree. I need to access this data, they said firmly. If my ship was affected by the failing barriers, the logs might tell us exactly how they're breaking down. Zara nodded slowly. The sacred hollow. We will be safe there, for a time. As they made their way back through the forest, Alex's mind was filled with questions. Why had the heart called to them specifically? What connection did they have to this place that had drawn them across the stars? And most pressingly, could they find a way to repair the damage before it was too late? The hunters arrive. 3 days passed in the sacred hollow while Alex worked to access the Herm's data core. Using components salvaged from their environment suit and power from the crystal Zora had reluctantly allowed them to take, they managed to cobble together a rudimentary interface. Got it, Alex finally announced as the makeshift screen flickered to life. Zara moved closer, her curiosity evident despite her wariness of human technology. Over the past days, they had developed an uneasy rapport. Alex had shared stories of their life among the stars, and Zara had taught them more about the forest and its mysteries. The alien was still adamant that Alex could not leave, but there was a growing understanding between them. What does it say? Zara asked, peering at the scrolling data. It confirms my theory, Alex replied, pointing to a series of energy readings. The Herms detected a quantum fluctuation that matched patterns in its database, specifically patterns associated with experimental cloaking technology developed about 50 years ago. When Jenkins was here, Zara murmured. Exactly. He didn't just hide the planet. He used quantum crystals to create a phase shift barrier. It didn't make the planet invisible. It shifted it slightly out of sync with normal spacetime. Alex shook their head in admiration. Brilliant work, but apparently not permanent. The data continued scrolling, revealing more details about the ship's final moments before the crash. The barrier's instability created a quantum resonance that affected the Hermes systems. That's why I crashed. Alex frowned at the readings. But there's something else here. The barrier wasn't just failing on its own. Something was actively disrupting it. Zara's tail lashed in agitation. The Devourers. No, something from outside. These energy signatures. Alex trailed off, a chill running down their spine. Zara, I think someone was deliberately probing the barrier. Before Zara could respond, a deep vibration shook the hollow, sending dust and debris raining down from above. Both of them rushed to the entrance, pushing aside the covering vines to look outside. The sky, usually obscured by mist and the towering canopy, was now visible through a massive tear in the forest cover. And through that tear, a ship was descending, far larger than the Hermes, with predatory lines and weapons bristling from its hull. Hunters, Zora hissed, her body tensing. They have found us. That's not a Terran Alliance vessel, Alex observed, recognizing the distinctive design. It's Vorax. Mercenaries, usually hired for resource extraction in disputed territories. They seek the heart's crystals, Zara said grimly, just like before. The Vorax ship settled in a clearing about a kilometer away, its landing jets scorching the surrounding forest. Even at this distance, Alex could see smaller craft deploying from its belly, fanning out in search patterns. They'll find the Hermes soon, Alex warned. And when they do, they'll know someone survived the crash. Zara pulled them back into the hollow. We must go to the guardian tree. The heart must be protected. Alex gathered their makeshift equipment, mind racing. Zara, I need to know exactly what Jenkins did. How did he repair the damage last time? How did he drive them away? Zara was already collecting various items from around the hollow. Weapons, pouches of powder, and several small crystals. Jenkins understood that the heart's power could be channel directed. He created focuses. She held up one of the small crystals that amplified its energy. With these, we sealed the worst of the corruption and drove the invaders away. But you said the heart is weaker now, Alex prompted. Will it still work? Zara's expression was grim. I do not know, but we have no choice. They left the hollow, moving stealthily through the underbrush. The forest seemed to aid their concealment, the mist thickening around them and the vegetation parting to offer hidden paths. As they traveled, Alex noticed more signs of the Devourers, areas where the vibrant life of the forest gave way to gray, lifeless patches. The corruption spreads faster now, Zora confirmed, seeing Alex's concern. The hunter's presence agitates the wound. They had covered about half the distance to the guardian tree when the sound of engines overhead forced them into cover beneath a fallen giant. Through gaps in the massive roots, they watched as a Vorax scout ship hovered overhead, scanning beams sweeping the forest floor. They track energy signatures, Alex whispered. The crystals will draw them. Zara clutched the pouch of crystals closer. Then we must be faster. The scout ship moved on, and they continued their journey, now moving with greater urgency. As they neared the clearing with the guardian tree, however, Alex sensed something was wrong. The mist was thinner here, and the usual chorus of forest sounds had fallen silent. They crested a ridge and looked down into the clearing, then quickly ducked back into cover. Damn it, Alex hissed. They found it already. Below, a team of Vorax mercenaries had established a perimeter around the guardian tree. Heavy equipment was being set up, including what looked like boring machines designed to extract samples. The tree's translucent bark already bore several wounds where core samples had been taken. Zara trembled with rage beside them. They violate the sacred. The heart bleeds. Alex studied the situation, counting at least 15 heavily armed mercenaries. We need a distraction. I can provide one, Zara said, her voice cold with determination. But you must reach the tree. The crystal you carry, it is connected to you now. The heart will respond to your call if you press it into the Guardian's flesh. What will that do? If the heart accepts you as it accepted Jenkins, it will grant you access to its power. You can use it to drive them back, at least temporarily. Alex wasn't thrilled about the plan's vagueness, but they had limited options. What about you? How will you create a distraction? Zara's eyes gleamed. The forest is still my ally, Starfallen. Watch and learn. She moved away, disappearing into the underbrush with surprising stealth for someone of her size. Alex waited, counting heartbeats, every sense alert for danger. Minutes later, a massive explosion rocked the far side of the clearing. Alex peered over the ridge to see one of the Vorax's boring machines engulfed in flames. The mercenaries immediately redirected their attention, weapons raised as they moved to investigate. That was Alex's cue. They slipped down the slope, using the confusion and smoke as cover. They were halfway to the Guardian tree when a shout went up. They'd been spotted. Laser fire cut through the mist around them, scorching the ground at their feet. Alex dove and rolled, coming up running. More shouts, more weapons fire. Something hot grazed their shoulder, but adrenaline kept them moving. The Guardian tree loomed ahead, its wounded bark pulsing with distressed light. Alex reached for it, the crystal clutched in their hand. A heavy impact from behind sent them sprawling. They rolled over to find one of the Vorax mercenaries standing over them, rifle aimed at their chest. "Don't move, human," the mercenary growled, their voice distorted by their helmet's translator. "You're a long way from Alliance space. You don't understand what you're doing," Alex gasped, feeling warm blood trickle down their shoulder. "This place, it's alive. Sentient." The mercenary laughed. "Save it. We've heard all the native superstitions before. This is just another resource extraction." A high-pitched whine suddenly filled the air, and the mercenary stiffened. Then, to Alex's shock, they began to rise off the ground, suspended by tendrils of mist that had solidified into something like ropes. Zara stepped into view, her body glowing with the same inner light Alex had seen when she fought the Devourer. The mist swirled around her like an extension of her body. "The forest is not yours to take," she snarled, her voice reverberating unnaturally. More mercenaries were converging on their position. Alex didn't waste the opportunity. They scrambled to their feet and lunged for the Guardian tree, pressing the crystal against its wounded bark. The effect was immediate and overwhelming. Light erupted from the point of contact, spreading through the tree's translucent flesh like wildfire. Alex felt a presence enter their mind, ancient, vast, and undeniably alien. They gasped as knowledge flooded into them, too much to process all at once. Through the chaos of information, one thing became clear: the heart of the forest was dying. The damage done decades ago had never truly healed, and now, with the barriers failing and the hunters returned, it was fading rapidly. But it had been waiting for something, or someone, a compatible mind that could help it regenerate. Jenkins had been the first, but his work was incomplete. The heart needed a permanent guardian, a consciousness that could merge with its own to guide the healing. It had called to Alex across the stars, recognizing something in them that resonated with its own nature. The crash wasn't an accident, it was an invitation. As this understanding crystallized, Alex felt power surge through them. The crystal in their hand dissolved, absorbed directly into their flesh. Their vision sharpened, showing them not just the physical world, but the flows of energy underneath, the life force of the forest, the corruption spreading like a disease, and the bright spark that was Zora, fighting to protect them. Alex raised their hand, And to their amazement, the mist responded, gathering and solidifying into a shield that deflected incoming weapons fire. With their other hand, they touched the guardian tree again, drawing more power. Enough, they said, and their voice echoed like Zara's had, filled with the authority of the heart itself. The ground beneath the mercenaries' feet erupted with growth, vines and roots bursting upward to entangle them. The mist thickened until it was nearly solid, pushing the invaders back from the guardian tree. In the midst of this chaos, Alex locked eyes with Zara across the clearing. Her expression was one of awe and recognition. She had seen this before with Jenkins. She understood what was happening. The mercenaries were retreating now, falling back in disarray as the forest itself rose against them. Alex maintained the pressure, pushing them further from the clearing, away from the guardian tree and its precious connection to the heart. But as the immediate threat receded, Alex became aware of a greater danger. The corruption was spreading faster now, agitated by the violence and the heart's exertion. Dark patches were appearing throughout the forest, and in the distance, the howls of devourers were growing closer. The heart spoke to Alex without words, showing them the truth. The balance had been irrevocably damaged. The barriers were failing because the heart itself was failing. Jenkins's solution had only delayed the inevitable. There was only one way to save this world now. The choice. The Vorax mercenaries had retreated to their ship, but Alex knew they wouldn't leave. Not when they had seen the power of the forest firsthand. Not when the quantum crystals were even more valuable than they had initially believed. Zara found Alex sitting at the base of the guardian tree, their bodies still glowing faintly with the heart's power. The alien approached cautiously, dropping to one knee beside them. "You have communed with the heart," she said, not a question but a statement of fact. As Jenkins did. Alex nodded, their minds still reeling from the experience. "It's dying, Zara. The heart. The whole forest." Zara's tail curled around her body, a gesture Alex had come to recognize as distress. "I have felt its pain growing, but I did not know how little time remained. The barriers are failing because the heart can't maintain them anymore," Alex explained, running their fingers along the luminous veins in the tree's bark. Jenkins's solution was never meant to be permanent. He was buying time, hoping. Hoping for what? "For someone like me," Alex said quietly. "The heart showed me. It's been searching, calling out across the stars for a compatible consciousness. Jenkins could interface with it temporarily, but he couldn't stay, couldn't complete the healing." Zara's yellow eyes widened with understanding. "The forest chose you, truly chose you." Alex stood, wincing slightly at the pain in their injured shoulder. "The heart needs a permanent guardian, Zara. A consciousness that can merge with its own, guide the healing process from within." "You speak of becoming one with the heart," Zara said, awe and concern mingling in her voice. "No one has done this before. Not even my ancestors. Because no one was compatible before." Jenkins recognized the possibility, but he wasn't the right match. Alex looked up at the towering guardian tree, its wounded bark still pulsing with distressed light. "I am." A distant explosion shook the ground beneath their feet. The Vorax were regrouping, likely preparing a more substantial assault. They now knew what they were dealing with, and what was at stake. "We don't have much time," Alex said, scanning the horizon where smoke was rising from the direction of the Vorax ship. "The corruption is spreading faster now, and the devourers are gathering. I can feel them, hunting, hungry." Zara stood, her powerful form tense with resolve. "What must we do? We need to reach the heart itself, not just a conduit like this tree, but the actual core." Alex closed their eyes, letting the knowledge the heart had shared flow through them. "There's a place, deep beneath the forest floor, a cavern where the heart first took root on this world. The sacred depths," Zara breathed. "Few of my kind have ever ventured there. It is forbidden. It's our only chance. The heart is too weak to heal itself, but if I can merge with it, become part of it." Alex trailed off, the implications of what they were suggesting finally sinking in. I could guide the healing from within, rebuild the barriers, drive back the corruption. The unspoken part hung in the air between them. Alex would never leave this world, never return to their old life. They would become something else entirely, neither human nor forest, but something in between. Zara seemed to sense their thoughts. You would give up the stars, your life among your own kind. Alex looked around at the vibrant, alien beauty of the forest, then back at Zara's concerned face. In the short time they had known her, they had come to respect her fierce dedication, her connection to this place, her unwavering purpose. What life? Alex said with a small smile. Mapping uninhabited systems, filing reports no one reads. At least here, I'd be doing something that matters. Another explosion, closer this time. The ground trembled beneath their feet. We must hurry, Zara urged. The path to the sacred depths is treacherous, and the devourers will sense our purpose. They set off at a rapid pace, Zara leading the way deeper into the forest. As they traveled, the environment around them changed subtly. The trees grew older, more gnarled, their trunks wider than buildings. The mist thickened and gained an iridescent quality, swirling with colors Alex had never seen before. We enter the old growth, Zara explained as they passed between two massive trunks that formed a natural archway. The first extension of the heart when it came to this world. How old is this forest, exactly? Alex asked, marveling at the ancient giants surrounding them. The heart arrived when this world was young, before my kind evolved, before anything more complex than simple plants existed here. Zara's voice took on the cadence of a well-recited story. It was a seed from distant stars, carried on solar winds. Where it took root, life flourished and diversified. Alex absorbed this information, adding it to what the heart had already shared. It's not native to this planet. It's a symbiote, an interstellar organism that bonds with planets. So my ancestors believed, Zara confirmed. They called themselves the Chosen, honored to be the heart's voice and hands. As they ventured deeper into the old growth, Alex became aware of eyes watching them from the shadows. Not hostile, but curious. The wildlife here was different, more complex, more aware. Animals with too many limbs or eyes peered at them from behind luminous foliage, their gazes intelligent and assessing. The heart's influence is stronger here, Zora explained, noticing Alex's unease. All life is more connected. They had been walking for nearly an hour when the forest floor began to slope downward, leading them into a ravine cut by an ancient riverbed. The walls were lined with the same translucent, vein-filled material as the guardian tree, pulsing with gentle light. The heart's roots run deep, Alex murmured, touching the wall. They could feel the consciousness behind it, faint but present. Zora pointed ahead. The entrance to the sacred depths lies at the bottom of the ravine. A cave that. She cut off abruptly, dropping into a defensive crouch. Alex immediately tensed, scanning their surroundings. At first, they saw nothing. Then the shadows between the trees began to move, coalescing into forms that weren't quite solid. Devourers, at least a dozen of them, their void-like bodies seeming to absorb the light around them. They've been waiting for us, Zara growled, her claws extending. They know what we intend. The devourers attacked without warning or sound, flowing toward them like living shadows. Alex discovered that the power they had drawn from the guardian tree was still with them. They raised their hands, and the mist responded, forming barriers that the devourers couldn't penetrate. Zara launched herself at the nearest creatures, her body once again glowing with inner light. Her claws seemed to solidify the devourers' forms temporarily, allowing her to tear through them. But there were too many. For every one they dispatched, two more emerged from the shadows of the old growth. And Alex could feel their connection to the heart weakening the further they got from the guardian tree. We can't fight them all. Alex shouted, reinforcing their mist barrier as a devourer slammed against it. We need to run. Zara disengaged from her current opponent and rushed back to Alex's side. Without warning, she scooped them up and began sprinting down the ravine, leaping from rock to rock with incredible agility. The devourers pursued, flowing like oil down the ravine walls. Some moved faster than others, nearly overtaking them several times, only to be repelled by bursts of power from Alex or slashing attacks from Zara's free hand. Finally, they reached the bottom of the ravine, where a dark opening yawned in the translucent wall, a cave entrance partially concealed by hanging vines. Zara dove through, still carrying Alex, and they tumbled into darkness. The pursuing devourers hit some kind of invisible barrier at the cave entrance, their shadowy forms rippling against it, but unable to pass through. The heart protects its core, Zora explained, setting Alex down gently, even from those born of its own corruption. Alex took a moment to catch their breath, examining their surroundings. The cave was illuminated by the same bioluminescent veins they had seen throughout the forest, but here they were thicker, more numerous. The walls pulsed with light in a rhythm that matched Alex's heartbeat. "This way," Zora said, moving deeper into the cave system. The tunnel descended steeply, sometimes requiring them to climb down natural rock formations. All the while, the veins of light grew more pronounced, and Alex could feel the heart's presence growing stronger in their mind. Finally, the tunnel opened into a vast cavern that took Alex's breath away. The ceiling soared hundreds of feet overhead, supported by massive crystalline columns. The floor was a shallow pool of clear liquid that glowed from within, each ripple sending waves of light across the cavern walls. And at the center of it all, suspended in a web of luminous roots and crystal formations, was the heart itself, a pulsing orb of pure energy, neither liquid nor solid, shifting between states in a hypnotic rhythm. It was smaller than Alex had expected, perhaps the size of a beach ball, but the power radiating from it was unmistakable. "The heart of all life on this world," Zara whispered, her voice reverent. Alex stepped forward, drawn by an irresistible pull. The pool rippled around their boots as they waded toward the center of the cavern. The heart's glow intensified as they approached, the colors shifting more rapidly. "It's beautiful," Alex said softly, "and so old, so tired." They could feel the heart's exhaustion, its struggle to maintain the complex web of life it had created. The corruption was spreading inward, closing in on this last sanctuary. Without intervention, it would soon reach this chamber, and when it did, the heart would fail completely. A distant rumbling shook dust from the cavern ceiling. "The hunters," Zara said grimly. "They must have found another way in. Or they're just bombing the whole forest," Alex replied, still moving toward the heart. "Either way, we're out of time." When they reached the center of the pool, directly beneath the suspended heart, Alex looked back at Zara. The alien guardian stood at the edge of the water, her powerful form silhouetted against the tunnel entrance. "If I do this," Alex said, "I won't be me anymore." "Not exactly." Zara nodded, understanding in her eyes. "You will be more, as Jenkins could have been had he been able to stay. Will you be all right, being guardian alone all these years?" "I will not be alone," Zara replied, a small smile touching her alien features. "You will be here, different, but here." Another explosion, closer this time. Small crystals detached from the ceiling and splashed into the pool. "It's now or never," Alex said, taking a deep breath. They reached up toward the heart, fingers trembling slightly. "Goodbye, Zora. And thank you for saving me, for showing me this place, for everything." "It is I who should thank you, Starfallen," Zara replied, bowing her head, "for answering the heart's call when all seemed lost." Alex smiled, then turned back to the heart. They stretched their arms upward, and to their surprise, the heart descended to meet them, the web of roots and crystals lowering it gently until it hovered just inches from their fingertips. The moment of contact was both an ending and a beginning. Alex's consciousness expanded outward in a rush, connecting to every root, every tree, every creature touched by the heart's influence. They felt the corruption as wounds in this vast network, felt the devourers as discordant notes in an otherwise harmonious symphony. They felt Zara's presence too, a bright, fierce flame standing guard at the edge of perception. And beyond the forest, they felt the Vorax hunters, their machines burrowing through the earth, seeking the source of the power they had detected. They felt the failing barriers around the planet, the quantum fields flickering as the heart's strength waned. Alex was no longer just Alex. They were the forest, the heart, the world itself, and they knew what needed to be done. Power surged through the network, directed by Alex's will and the heart's ancient knowledge. The barriers around the planet strengthened, solidified, becoming impenetrable. The corruption began to recede, the damaged areas of the forest slowly healing as the heart's energy flowed into them. The devourers, cut off from the source that had created them, began to dissipate like morning mist under the sun. And the Vorax hunters. Alex didn't want to harm them, despite everything. They were just doing what they had been paid to do, unaware of the true nature of what they sought. Instead, Alex reached into their ship systems, overloading the navigation computers with contradictory data. To the Vorax, it would seem as if the planet itself had vanished, replaced by empty space. They would have no choice but to leave. In the cavern, Zara watched in awe as Alex's physical form became translucent, merging with the heart until they were indistinguishable from each other. The entire chamber pulsed with renewed energy, and the pool at her feet began to rise, the glowing liquid climbing the walls and ceiling until the entire cavern was submerged in light. Zara didn't fear it. She closed her eyes and let the light wash over her, feeling the heart's joy and gratitude. And underneath it all, the echo of Alex's consciousness, different, but recognizable. "Thank you for your faith in me," a voice that was and wasn't Alex's whispered in her mind. "Will you be well?" Zara asked aloud, knowing they could hear. "Better than well. Whole. Complete. As I was always meant to be." And the forest. It will heal. Slowly, but completely. The barriers will hold now, stronger than Jenkins could have made them. No one will find this world unless we wish to be found. Zara smiled, feeling the weight lift from her shoulders. For the first time in generations, she wasn't alone in her vigil. The heart had found its true guardian at last. "What should I tell the others when they return?" she asked, referring to her scattered people who might someday find their way back to their ancestral home. "Tell them the heart sings again. Tell them the star fallen has become the star rooted. Tell them this world is safe." The light receded slowly, the pool returning to its previous level. But the heart above had changed. It pulsed with new vigor, the colors more vibrant, the rhythm stronger. And if Zara looked closely, she could sometimes see a human shape within it, moving like a dancer through the heart's energy. Weeks later, Zara stood on a high ridge overlooking the forest. The changes were visible even from here. The mist had thinned in places, allowing sunlight to reach the forest floor for the first time in generations. New growth was spreading, vibrant and untainted by corruption. The devourers were gone, their darkness consumed by the heart's renewed light. And sometimes, when Zara walked the forest paths, the mist would form beside her, taking on a vaguely human shape that walked with her for a time before dissipating back into the air. In those moments, no words were needed. The guardian and the heart understood each other perfectly. Far above the planet, the new barriers held firm, invisible to all but the most sensitive instruments. The world had vanished from the star charts, protected by technology and ancient power working in harmony, just as Jenkins had intended but never fully achieved. It would remain that way for as long as the heart, and the human consciousness now merged with it, deemed necessary. Perhaps one day, when humanity had learned to respect rather than exploit, the barriers might thin again. Perhaps one day, the heart might call to another lost traveler, not to save it this time, but to share the wonder it had created. Until then, the forest would grow, the guardian would watch, and deep beneath the ancient trees, a human who had found their true purpose would dream of stars they had once sailed between, and the new stars they now nurtured on the world they had chosen to protect. The end.